Welcome back. Today we will learn about the shocking turn of events that promises to reshape one of Salem's most turbulent relationships as Xander Cook finds himself in the unexpected position of savior when his half-brother Phillip Kyriakis faces a life-threatening emergency. The explosive setup at Titan DiMera. The tension-filled corridors of Titan DiMera have become the unlikely stage for what could be the most pivotal moment in the fractured relationship between Xander and Phillip Kyriakis. Recent spoilers reveal that during what appears to be a routine business meeting in Xander's executive office, the atmosphere will suddenly shift from corporate discussions to a terrifying medical emergency that will test the very core of their brotherly bond. The scene unfolds with Phillip visiting Xander's office, likely to discuss ongoing business matters or perhaps to continue their ongoing power struggle for control of the Kyriakis empire. However, the mundane nature of their interaction takes a dramatic turn when Phillip suddenly begins experiencing severe choking, gasping desperately for air as something becomes lodged in his throat. The medical emergency creates an immediate crisis that strips away all pretense and corporate politics, leaving only the raw human instinct to preserve life. Xander's heroic response. Without hesitation, Xander springs into action with remarkable speed and determination, demonstrating that despite their complicated history and recent conflicts, his protective instincts toward his brother remain intact. Witnesses to this dramatic scene will observe Xander immediately recognizing the severity of Phillip's condition and responding with trained precision, performing the Heimlich maneuver with focused intensity. The visual of Xander wrapping his arms around Phillip from behind, applying the necessary pressure to dislodge whatever is threatening his brother's life, represents a powerful metaphor for their relationship, two men who have been locked in conflict now literally embracing in a moment of life-or-death desperation. The technique requires not only physical strength but also precise timing and positioning, skills that Xander apparently possesses and executes flawlessly under extreme pressure. As Phillip's face turns red and his breathing becomes increasingly labored, Xander's determination intensifies, applying the abdominal thrusts with increasing force until the obstruction is finally expelled, allowing Phillip to gasp precious air back into his lungs. The relief that floods both men in this moment creates an emotional breakthrough that transcends their previous animosity. The test theory, Phillip's strategic manipulation. However, Days of Our Lives spoilers suggest that this entire life-threatening scenario may not be as spontaneous as it initially appears. Sources indicate that Phillip has been carefully orchestrating a complex test designed to evaluate Xander's true character and determine whether his half-brother would genuinely risk everything to save his life, even after their recent brutal conflicts. The possibility that Phillip deliberately created this choking emergency adds multiple layers of psychological complexity to an already intricate storyline. If true, this would demonstrate Phillip's willingness to literally gamble with his own life to answer fundamental questions about Xander's loyalty and humanity. Such a desperate measure would indicate just how crucial these answers have become to Phillip's future decision-making regarding their business relationship and family dynamics. The sophistication required to fake a convincing choking episode while maintaining the appearance of genuine distress suggests that Phillip has been planning this elaborate ruse for some time. He would need to carefully time the incident, ensure that they were alone in Xander's office, and commit fully to the performance despite the inherent risks of such a deception. Character motivations and psychology. Phillip's potential motivation for orchestrating such an extreme test stems from the complex web of betrayal, violence, and forgiveness that has defined their relationship in recent months. After surviving Xander's brutal assault that left him hospitalized and fighting for his life, Phillip faces the monumental decision of whether to press charges against his brother or find a path toward reconciliation. The psychological trauma of being beaten nearly to death by someone he trusted creates a fundamental crisis of faith for Phillip. He needs concrete evidence that Xander possesses the capacity for genuine care and protection, not just the destructive rage that nearly killed him. By creating a scenario where Xander must choose between self-preservation and brotherly duty, Phillip seeks definitive proof of his brother's true nature. For Xander, this moment represents a crucial opportunity to demonstrate growth and redemption. His immediate response to save Phillip, regardless of whether the emergency is real or fabricated, reveals his underlying love for his brother and his instinctive desire to protect family members, even those who have wronged him in the past. The aftermath and reconciliation. The emotional intensity of this life-saving moment, whether genuine or staged, creates the perfect catalyst for a long-overdue conversation about forgiveness, trust, and the possibility of moving forward together. Philip's shock at Xander's unhesitating response to save his life forces him to confront his own assumptions about his brother's character and capacity for change. If Phillip reveals that the choking was indeed a test, Xander's reaction will become equally crucial to their future relationship. His response to learning that his brother risked his own life to evaluate Xander's character could either deepen their bond through mutual understanding or create new tensions based on the deception involved in such an extreme test. The reconciliation that follows this dramatic incident represents more than just personal healing. It has significant implications for the future of Titan Demera and the broader Kiriaki's family dynamics. Their ability to work together effectively as co-leaders of the family business depends entirely on rebuilding the trust that was shattered by recent conflicts and betrayals. Future implications for Salem. This pivotal moment sets the stage for a completely transformed relationship between these two complex characters, potentially creating one of the strongest alliances in Salem's business and social landscape. Their reconciliation could shift power dynamics throughout the community, affecting everything from corporate partnerships to family gatherings and social events. The ripple effects of their renewed brotherhood will likely impact other key relationships, particularly Xander's ongoing custody battle with Sarah and his attempts to rebuild his reputation in Salem society. Having Phillip's support and forgiveness could provide Xander with the credibility and emotional stability needed to address other damaged relationships in his life. As this dramatic storyline unfolds, viewers can expect to witness not just the immediate aftermath of this life-saving moment, but the long-term consequences of two brothers choosing reconciliation over revenge, forgiveness over fury, and family loyalty over personal pride. Will Brady finally learn the truth about his grandchild? Family has always been at the center of life in Salem, but lately, Brady Black has found himself torn between hope, doubt, and heartache. His determination to uncover the truth about his grandchild's adoption has led him down an emotional path filled with uncertainty. On this particular day, Brady takes a bold step toward clarity when he arranges a private meeting with Patsy McGowan, a respected adoption attorney with ties to the case. A meeting filled with questions. From the start, the meeting carries a strange air. Patsy greets Brady politely, yet something about her demeanor seems guarded, almost as if she is weighing every word before speaking. Brady, already on edge, immediately senses that this conversation will not be simple. When Brady brings up his son Tate's name, hoping for recognition or even just a spark of acknowledgement, Patsy tilts her head slightly and admits she doesn't recall ever meeting him. This revelation rattles Brady. How could Tate and his girlfriend Sophia be so certain that Patsy was involved in the adoption process, yet Patsy herself claims otherwise? Refusing to give up, Brady begins carefully recounting everything Tate and Sophia told him. He explains how his son and Sophia had confided in him about the adoption, and how their story consistently pointed back to Patsy. Just as Brady seems ready to press her for answers, Patsy's phone rings. She takes a quick look, apologizes, and assures Brady she will return the call later. For Brady, the interruption feels like yet another delay in a journey already riddled with detours. The truth, or just another deflection? Once Patsy ends the call, her tone changes. No longer polite but distant, she becomes more direct, almost defensive. She tells Brady that Tate is not her client, and she insists she has never represented him in any legal capacity. Instead, she explains that her involvement has been limited to connecting Sophia with the adoptive parents of the child. This revelation stirs a flood of emotions in Brady. If Tate wasn't officially represented, how could his rights as a father have been protected? Was Sophia acting alone when she made these decisions, or was someone manipulating the situation from behind the scenes? The most pressing question, however, is one that strikes at Brady's heart: the identity of his grandchild. Gathering his courage, Brady asks Patsy if the baby is a boy or a girl. She pauses, then answers simply, "A girl." She adds that surely he must have heard that already. But Brady's response is filled with quiet pain. He admits that his son hasn't even been given a copy of the adoption papers, leaving them in the dark about nearly every important detail. Desperate for something tangible, Brady asks Patsy if he can at least receive a copy of the documents. Patsy shakes her head regretfully, explaining that she would need Sophia's permission first. For Brady, the words land like a heavy weight. Once again, the truth is within reach yet held just out of his grasp. Marlena's comforting presence. After the tense meeting, Brady steps into Horton Square, still trying to process what he has learned. It is there that he encounters Marlena, his stepmother and one of the few people who has consistently stood by his side during these tumultuous times. Marlena's calm presence is like a balm to Brady's weary spirit. He quickly thanks her for spending time with his daughter Rachel, reminding her how much it means to him that someone is looking out for Rachel's happiness. Marlena, in her ever-gentle way, explains that Rachel and Thomas had gotten into a bit of an argument at the pool earlier in the day. But rather than let the disagreement ruin Rachel's afternoon, Tate had stepped up in a surprising way. He whisked Rachel away on a little adventure, determined to lift her spirits. Hearing this, Brady feels both pride in his son's thoughtfulness and gratitude that Rachel has people who care so deeply for her. A touching gift. As their conversation continues, Marlena produces a small gift for Rachel, a new sneaker bag and a delicate picture frame. She explains her idea: perhaps Rachel might like to tuck a photo of herself and her mother Kristen inside the bag, carrying a reminder of that bond wherever she goes. Marlena's thoughtfulness is not lost on Brady. He assures her that Rachel will love the gift, touched by the care Marlena always shows his daughter. Overwhelmed, Brady takes a moment to thank Marlena sincerely. He admits he doesn't know how he and Rachel would manage without her steady support. In the middle of all the questions surrounding Tate, Sophia, and the mystery of his grandchild, it is Marlena who brings him a sense of stability and love. Looking ahead. The day leaves Brady with more questions than answers. He now knows his grandchild is a girl, but the official paperwork and the circumstances surrounding the adoption remain locked away. Worse, it appears his son Tate was left on the outside of a process that should have included him from the very beginning. Yet, even in the face of frustration and heartache, Brady also sees the resilience of his family. Marlena's wisdom, Tate's protective instincts toward Rachel, and Rachel's own courage in the face of change remind him that family bonds are worth fighting for. As the sun sets over Salem, Brady resolves that his search is far from over. He will continue to push for the truth, no matter how many roadblocks stand in his way. After all, the future of his family, and the well-being of his grandchild, depends on it.